Preeti, we can start.
Hello, everyone. My name is Preeti Mehrotra. I'm a Senior Product Manager with Myedubag. We welcome you all to today's webinar on Art Integrated Learning, Need of the Hour. Myedubag is an initiative in school education by I Deserve Education Private Limited, based in New Delhi, India. We are operational from 2018 and work in 4 different segments of school education: learning, self-learning, academic and non-academic content, distribution, publishing, homeschooling. Currently, we are active with 275 plus schools and have more than 165,000 plus consumers across India and UAE. We have recently done tie-up with Trinity College London, which is 150 years old examination body from UK to help learners and teachers to equipped with best global practices. For today's session, we have 4 prominent speakers who have done a remarkable work in school education. We have with us Dr. Neelima Sharma, Mr. Dale Edwards, Mrs. Heemal Handoo, Mrs. Nair, and our moderator of the session, Dr. Vagmita Tyagi. Before I hand over the session to Dr. Vagmita, I would like to give a brief introduction of our speakers. Dr. Neelima Sharma is Associate Vice President with Trinity College London. In her last 5 decades of working, she has held many prestigious positions with renowned school, various departments like NCRT, Directorate of Education as a Deputy Director. She spearheads the conceptualizations, development, and the rollout of CBSE's and Trinity College London's ambitious project on assessment of speaking and listening skills, ASL. She is a true voice and the best authority on assessment of speaking and listening skills. The ASL project, she has held the position of a senior academic consultant, English, and led on the design and development of CBSE-I, that is CBSE's international curriculum. Her engagement in the development of an encyclopedia of Mahabharat is an ongoing project which evidences her commitment to Indian traditions and practices. I welcome you, ma'am. Our another speaker is Mr. Dale Edwards, who serves as India Head Academic Team, Language, Communication, Drama, and Performance for Trinity College London. Mr. Dale is a fellow of Trinity College London and has been awarded a Master's in Teaching for his thesis developed for teachers on teaching oral communication skills in the 21st century. Dale is also a fellow of LCM, that is University of Western London, and was awarded a Master's in Performance. Additionally, Dale is also credentialed trainer from Dale Carnegie and holds an ATCL and LTCL with distinction in communication skills from Trinity College London. As one of the leading teachers of communication and life skills in the Indian subcontinent, Dale's 6,000 plus training hours has impacted 5,000 plus students and adults, 850 plus teachers, and 80 plus schools across 27 cities. I welcome you, sir. Now it's time to introduce our third speaker, that is Heemal Handoo. She is Principal, Hansraj Model School, Punjabi Bagh, New Delhi, has been an educator for more than 36 years now. She has been conferred with the prestigious CBSE Teachers Award 2019-20 by the Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education, Government of India for her exemplary contribution and impeccable service in the field of education, and also with the State Teachers Award 2020 by the Directorate of Education, Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi. Crediting the efforts put in by Madam Heemal towards online education during the pandemic year, she has been conferred with Principal of the Year Award 2020 by the International Education Symposium and Award 2020. Savitribai Phule Samman 2020 Educational Leadership Award presented by Indraprastha School, Sahodaya and Delhi Sahodaya Schools Complex. Adding to her credentials is also the honor of receiving the prestigious Srimati Sushma Swaraj Sri Shakti Samman 2020 by Rethink India. She has authored several research papers which have been presented at many national and international conferences. She has worked extensively towards the curriculum development for education for class 9th and 12th for Central Board of Secondary Education. She has also designed modules for ASL and vocational skills for class 11th and 12th CBSE. Being a resource person for Siksha Vani, a CBSE official podcast for content for class 11th English core has been another addition to her basket of enormous work done by education. I welcome you, ma'am, for today's session. We have another very renowned principal from Kolkata, Mrs. Mini Nair, who is associated with a renowned school of Kolkata, National High School since 1987, and is currently working as a principal for their CBSE wing. She has a strong belief that it's the teacher's duty to tap the innate talent of kids and guide them accordingly. In her last 3 decades of working, she has successfully designed and implemented the best practices of school education in her school. She believes and has practiced students counseling, whereby very many students have been molded and they have later shown in their lives. She has always, for the last 3 years and a half decade, and more motivated and encouraged her students who have not been able to cope up with their academics till they attain success. I welcome you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now it's the time that I'm going to hand over the mic to, the session to Dr. Vagmita Tyagi, who is a vice principal of one of the Meerut's best school, Gargi Girls School, to take the session from here. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to today's session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Preeti. It was indeed a wonderful introduction, and my heartfelt greetings to all the eminent speakers. So as the launchpad has said for this event, a webinar that we all have been looking forward to, a very igniting topic, that is art integration, need of an hour. So before we actually begin with the webinar, let me just have an interaction with the lady who we have always looked up to, being an English teacher, Neelima ma'am. I am so deeply thankful to you for introducing ASL, because when it comes to science, maths, they're all full of practicals, and we English teachers used to feel, are we just left with nothing? And then came ASL. It was truly a revolution, and would like to hear some of your views related to ASL. How did this all happen? How did this all get into the streamlining? And yes, once again, on behalf of all the teachers taking up English, a big thank you for ASL.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tyagi. And before that, thank you very much, Preeti, for introducing me here. And as regards your question, Dr. Tyagi, it has been a long journey. It has not been really easy. Heemal has been with me throughout, and we know what a struggle it was to introduce assessment of speaking and listening skills in all schools of CBSE from 2012. But before that, we had already done the groundwork in 1989, when we had this, new CLT curriculum. Many of you may not have been born at that time. So when in 92, that new curriculum was, introduced in the CBSE, I still remember there was a long debate in London, Plymouth, University of Mark Jones, whether our teachers are trained to do this assessment or not. But then it kept on going, our efforts. We kept struggling with CBSE and other government agencies to introduce, formally speaking, at the end of board classes, 10th and 12th. But finally, the dreams came true in 2012 when we had done a pilot for the ASL in collaboration with Trinity College London, where I am currently working. Sorry. And from then on, there has not been looking back. So that is about the ASL. And I'm sure all of you must be enjoying, conducting the assessments and speaking and listening skills in your schools in different ways, different forms. Now it has been diluted.
Yes, ma'am. No, but we are keeping up the spirits high. Even we participated in the workshop in 2013 after the pilot project. The prompts, it was actually very, very interesting to ask the students, get their viewpoints. Thank you so much, Neelima ma'am, for your wonderful inputs. And now taking up our eminent speaker, Mr. Dale Edwards. Sir, we have been honored to have you over here. And when it comes to communication, yes, you have been doing a lot. But my point of discussion is slightly different. How do you look up to communication when we generally talk about communication gap? It is something that is very disturbing when it comes to generation gap, and then comes communication gap. And communication gap need not be within generation. It can be within peers as well. It can be within a student and a teacher relationship. So what are your viewpoints on this? How can we actually tackle this issue of communication gap?
All right. Okay. So thank you for having me. So firstly, one must address the elephant in the room, which is to say that communication skills is often mistakenly assumed to be English speaking. And I think we should all agree that it's not. In separate trajectories. Language learning is obviously one important area, and learning it as a second language is also a huge area to understand. In the context of communication skills, I think it's firstly a skill that everybody needs to develop, irrespective of which language you choose to develop it in. It is coincidental that we're talking about English today, so we're talking about communication skills in the context of English. But I think you've asked a really good question, in so much as I think communication skills, we tend to focus a lot about interaction and public speaking. But if you ask me, the heart of communication lies in the intrapersonal communication that happens within every little child. And I think if we set that compass right, which is to root their communication in a set of values, beliefs, and attitudes, and then spread outward from there, I think we're on the right trajectory to develop good communicative competencies as well as skills.
Great. Thank you so much, sir. So we hope that this session actually empowers and enlightens us with the new communication horizons that we all have been looking forward to. Thank you so much. And moving on to our very own Heemal ma'am. It's a great pleasure and honor again to hear from you. And yes, the big thank goes to you also for putting in so much effort for wonderful ASL that we English teachers take a lot of pride in taking it up in our schools. No matter it is still diluted, we are keeping the spirits high. Heemal ma'am, just a couple of days back, I came to know that behind this beautiful smile and a charming face lies the heart of a poetess. So not getting into this art integrated mode of topic, like on behalf of everybody, we would just like to hear your favorite lines, and then we can begin with the session.
Thank you, Dr. Tyagi. And first of all, my, shall I say, namaskar or namaste to everyone here, because I wasn't very audible initially. But I am hoping that I'm able to reach out to everyone at this point of time, madam.
Yes,
am I audible?
very much audible.
Yes.
Okay. Two things. One, my mentor is here, and I'm sharing the platform with my mentor, Madam Neelima Sharma. The brain behind the whole ASL project is totally her. She's very humble, and she doesn't say anything about it, but she had a vision and she made it happen. And that's why it is there. even though a lot has changed since then, there are many schools and teachers of English who continue to use the same assessment techniques and strategies and performance descriptors and parameters for assessing the children in both speaking and listening. So my kudos to the whole team of 2012 and much earlier when she thought of this. And thank you so much for bringing us together on this platform. The second point, yes, I turned into a visible poetess after the pandemic, or shall I say during the pandemic. Probably, you know, every student of literature has a little poetry in them, a little more, you know, literature makes you, you know, try your own writing. So I think I took to it full time during the pandemic. That was the best way to come out of it. There are no favorite lines because every line written is a favorite one for me. It's difficult like to say this child is better slightly than this child. All of them are my creation. So every one of them is very close to my heart.
But still, we would just like to hear some lines from you in case if you're okay.
I have written so many that I don't know which one I should talk about. I always talk about poetry and a lot of nature. I see a lot of things in my surroundings and there's a beauty around it. I speak to the flowers in my garden, and after I finish here again, I have delayed approach to my garden. 4:30 is the time I usually meet them. We talk. You will wonder how this principal talks to them, but we do have a lot to share. We speak to each other, and the flowers bloom. I feel much better after you have a conversation. It could be a little, but those who understand would understand.
Right. Great, ma'am. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your input. And moving on to final speaker for the day, but the lady who has joined from far and wide, Mrs. Mini Nair, ma'am, from Kolkata. We welcome you, ma'am. And that is what India is all about, true integration. So when we talk about India, we talk about India being a subcontinent, diversity. And as they say, diversity is the art of thinking independently together. So we are all thinking independently, but we are together. Mini ma'am, how is it in Kolkata? And your views about integration of the topic, right from north to south, from far east to far west.
Very good evening to everybody here. And talk of integration, it is absolutely essential and the best thing that could have happened, because we need to inculcate these, imbibe these things in our children of today. And I don't think there is any better person than us, we teachers, to take it forward and ensure that integration is there and it becomes firmer and stronger, thereby ensuring the safety and security of one and all.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much, ma'am. So as a moderator, my job is not to take too much time for the speaking part, but yes, inviting our eminent speakers for today. Neelima ma'am, it will be an honor for us to hear from you. So from here on, I request you to please take the session forward and enlighten us with the topic for today, that is role of communication in art integrated learning.
Thank you, Vagmita. It's lovely to be here in this evening. I think you have made our day today. And now, regarding communication, it's a very, very wide topic, as Dale has just mentioned, that it's not only limited to one language or only, speaking part, but it is all spread out everywhere. And the communication is not only written or verbal, it is also visual as well as, non-verbal. So if it is non-verbal or depends upon the performance, what a child is doing, it has always been there. The only thing is we have not been conscious of using the techniques. We had been using it, but without naming it as art education here. Now, since CBSE has, taken out a module on art education, they have started training teachers, but it is being done by everybody in any form, everywhere, all forms, everywhere. Right from any creative activity in the classroom, right from acting to drawing to dancing to anything that is related to performance. adds a lot of value to communication and effective communication. In English also, I was just looking at the NCERT website, and there's some of their YouTube, presentations. And one of the presentations I really liked that much, that in English language, when you introduce a topic or when you have one activity in a classroom, then how it is integrated into the art. Now, in that YouTube channel, one of the presenter was trying to talk about rain in a lower class, and she wanted the students to write on rain, description of rain, how it falls on earth, what all impacts it creates on the people down on earth. Now, the icebreaker activity that she gave as an example was beautiful, and she made students to clap by one finger for 30 seconds, then another clap by the whole class by 2 fingers, then by 3 fingers, and then by 4 fingers. And this way she introduced, and this was an ice-breaking session, how the rain starts from the beginning and how it reaches its crescendo. So the sound of it was really very, creative thought of creating that sound. It also had different dimensions that all the students in the class were involved in that. And as the claps increased in the class with 1 finger, 2 finger, they became louder, and everybody was so energetic and enthusiastic to, create more sound in the class. So this was very simple activity that she did to present, well, here are the students who are motivated, who are engaged in learning, and it is all performance-based. Communication, when we talk about communication, it is all based on spontaneous performance. It's not scripted, it's not learned, but it's all how you spontaneously perform and how well you are able to communicate your things. Regarding the visual, and this is one form of visual performance here. Like you have a communication tool in your WhatsApp, you keep sending emojis, describing your different, emotions. Well done. I'm sad. I'm happy. So there are so many emojis. So these are some of the ways of doing it. Similarly, then going to further activity, development of further activity in English language. Maybe you're talking about a circular, shape, maybe in maths or in English language through English. Are you just drawing the circle on the blackboard and introducing this as a circle? No, there are hundreds of ways to do that. You can integrate art into that. You can show them a necklace pendant. You can show them a coin. You can show them, anything which is round. You can show them, you can make a girl, take a kathak round, chakkar. You can show a painting, Madhubani painting, where there are circles. So it is art, creativity, painting, dance, any action performance, which is all created. And therefore, then you are, teaching the concept of maths here on circles. But the overarching communication skill is your language that is being used there. And how effectively are you using that? It's not only, teaching them the language skills, but you are also telling them what you are just embedding a concept in their mind. So this is one. And then, going back to the, YouTube channel of NCERT, what she showed was that she started using simulation for the whole class. She divided them into groups, and then she asked them, okay, now this group is going to act in the class as if they are playing in the puddle. Another group, in the second corner, they were asked to act as if they are just trying to save themselves from the rain, pouring rain. So that kind of, activity in the classroom taught them a number of vocabulary items, like, jumping in the puddle, pouring rain, or the sound of the rain, and, language associated with that. And this is what art integration is. And I think everybody here in this group, whoever is attending, has a creativity in a creative mind, and you can do it in the class. And as a teacher, your duty is that you facilitate a child to bring out your innate creativity in whatever you do, whether it is language learning, or it is any concept learning, or it is anything that you want to, learn as a skill. So that's my take on art integration and in communication, and how effective it becomes, how effective the communication becomes. So that's
Thank you so much, Neelima
integration.
ma'am. It was glorious. It was glorious. And when it comes to hearing from intellectuals, yes, you talked about art integration, but I must congratulate EduBag for organizing this webinar, that not only we heard about art integration, but we also got an idea of inclusive education. That was such a wonderful example, ma'am, including each and every single child. That is, we say creativity is for handful. No, creativity is for everybody. Let this inclusiveness come up with children. Thank you so much, Neelima ma'am. It was indeed glorious. Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Moving on to our next eminent speaker for the day, Mr. Dale Edwards. Sir would be talking about role of drama in art integrated learning. So, sir, the whole podium is all yours.
All right. Thank you. Actually, I think Neelima has made my work so much easier because she's already spoken and conveyed some very key and crucial elements in the teaching of communication and drama and using art as a way. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that. And except to say that as an examination board, Trinity has basically been certifying not only the proficiency in the subjects of art education for the last 150 years, but importantly, these are skills that are being developed in the bargain. And we'll talk a little bit about that very quickly. So I'm going to really kind of spend a few moments just talking to you about drama and education. And very briefly, these are some of the things that I would really talk about: is what is drama and education, and how do you develop what kind of a constructivist approach, and so on and so forth. But rather than me talk, I think it's easier for me to show. We all know that the new national education policy is addressing drama in a big way. That's not to say that it was ignored earlier, but it was never given perhaps its rightful position as a tool for learning. It was always considered something that you do if you're creatively inclined, or something that you would do as a way to also supplement your education. But I think strides in education from by people like Harvard Gardner's Multiple Intelligences, that talks about learning styles and different learners in the classroom, we've begun to realize that drama is a way for someone to express themselves, to engage with what is around them. And we need a lot of that in this world now, engaging with our surroundings and building empathy and so on. And at the same time, also developing a certain amount of spontaneity that Neelima referred to, and a certain frame and bend of mind that helps develop 21st century skills as a habit. And the reason why I say that is because the world in which we live in, particularly in the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen can change at the drop of a hat. And when we consider that we are educating our children for the future, it means that we need to educate them to be future, where they are aiming, or they can ensure that the next upheaval in technology does not render them useless. And this is where I think drama brings a lot to the table. Now, traditionally, we've always known that there are 3 types of classroom, which is the traditional classroom, the constructivist classroom, and the drama and education classroom. And I think the pictures would kind of explain it all by perhaps putting into perspective.
It's bad.
Sorry. Okay, I can hear some noise, but I'm not sure. Okay, fine. So as you can see, the traditional classroom is always a test, because the issue is teacher talk time versus student talk time. And too much of teacher talk time, and you have the traditional classroom where children are falling asleep. Similarly, the constructivist classroom is where you go out, you engage, you poke around, so to speak, and you learn as you discover. And then, of course, drama is where you get the whole class involved through a constructivist approach. So what are the touch points of a constructivist approach are essentially these 5. Is you engage, you explore, you explain, you extend, and you evaluate. And here we see that role play, very often associated only with drama therapy, can be used to the boundaries of both from a presentational format to a process orientation, to a fictional setting, to even a non-fictional setting. So you can engage with different kinds of activities using drama, all right, to develop different skill sets. Process drama and a lady called Dorothy Heathcote are very famous for this, wherein you immerse the entire classroom, all right, through the process of creating drama. So from the theme and the topic, which could be set, to developing context, roles, framing, developing what kind of tools and props you would use, to finally what kind of strategies you would use, are all developed through drama. Now, this, of course, becomes the hallmark and the foundation for how we look at children's social development. Lev Vygotsky was this social theorist who said that children need to co-create with others. And we all know that in India, more than ever, it takes a village to raise a child, and not just a teacher, or not just a home, and not just a parent. And in that fertile soil comes the frameworks from family to school to society that lay the framework for a nice, strong tree bark or tree trunk to grow, in which art, music, and drama can be used in extended subjects that we would learn, whether it's calculus, or whether it's math, or whether it's chemistry, or whether it's the English language. And when you look at games and you look at activities in the classroom, drama games bring a classroom alive, all right? And this is where, in connection with what we were talking about earlier with the ASL project, we've come to realize through the impact study that working with grade 9 and grade 11 sometimes is doing too little too late. And which is why Trinity today engages with a lot of schools to actually build a pathway for learners right from the age of 3. All right. And I will share that pathway with you in a second or two. But I just want to tell you that this creates a lovely framework. We talk about gamification today. All right. This process of using games can develop a lot. Similarly, using stimuli. Neelima was referring to a coin and circles and dance forms of Kathak. All of these could become great stimuli to create an environment for learning. And in drama, we, of course, use multiple techniques, what we call process drama techniques. All right. And each one of them can be used to a different effect. But I want to just sum it all up by saying this much, that we are not doing drama to become actors. We're not doing drama to become voice artists. We are using drama as a creative tool to develop life skills, which can be used academically, socially, professionally for our learners as they go through life. All right. And that is what the real takeaway of the NEP also is to get all this knowledge that we're developing, all right, to be applicable to the real world. Okay. Perhaps when original education was conceived, there was no Google. But today, if I don't know anything, I can Google it. That means I've got knowledge, but it doesn't mean I know how to do it. A big difference between knowing the parts of a cycle and knowing how to actually ride a cycle. Now, what we are trying to do is create the right environment where we develop these skills through a creative framework, which can be applied to almost any subject, whether it's language or history or science or geography or math. All right, you can use drama as a way for learning. In fact, you can also use it in language learning. All right, I'm sure you, as all English teachers over here, will be familiar with the work of James Scrivener, who talks about classroom management techniques. And in that, we talk about how we build a communicative classroom or communicative language teaching. So all of this ties in. And at Trinity, we do all of this because we have a group of syllabi which complement each other. For something for the very small children, to speech and drama, to acting, performance arts, musical theatre, communication skills. And this goes right from the level of absolute beginner to absolute master, where you can actually get a teaching qualification out of it. So I'm going to leave you with this last one slide, which basically says, if we look at our children around us, what do they need? All right. Now, I know as parents, we say, I want my child to be this and I want my child to be that. Yes, all that is good. But if you boil it down to very simple things, when a child is very young, we want them to develop confidence. All right. At this age, between the ages of 3 to 5, they have no fear. All right. They will use English, they will use Hindi, they will use Gujarati, they will use song, they will use dance, they will use speaking, they will use chanting, they will use dancing. All of it must be recognized. It's all important. All right. As children get a little older, this is where we start developing the speaking and listening element of language. Specifically speaking and listening, because as we know in our by and large educational system, we tend to value reading and writing a little more than we do speaking and listening. And when push comes to shove and our young adults are entering the workplace, their ability to speak and listen is going to override any other ability first. So hence, children must develop these skills as well. As they get older, from the age of 7 onwards, we all know that children have their favorite YouTuber and their favorite TikToker and their favorite dancer and whatever, that this is when the creativity is beginning to come to the surface. So this is the time to introduce them to communication skills, drama, music, which develops an additional sensibility and sensitivity, all right, to the whole right brain approach, and also develops very real world skills. And finally, when children are a little older, between the ages of 13 onwards, we kind of get them ready for what you would call would be their learning in higher education, or they need to develop skills, study skills and strategies to deal with the data, processing data, recalling data, making sense, deducing, what we often refer to as study strategies. So in a nutshell, all the assessments that we offer are internationally benchmarked. If it's language exams, they're benchmarked to the English CEFR standard, because we don't have an Indian standard. If it's the ones that deal with skill, then they're benchmarked to the RQF levels, all right, and OFQA levels. And of course, you can go from absolute beginner to absolute master. So this is in a nutshell is what I had to share with you. I want to thank you for your time and for having both Neelima and myself. You can always reach out to me. My email ID is there, and I'd be happy to help and to help any one of you. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dale. It was indeed illustrious. And I must congratulate you for breaking the bubble of myth that drama is not melodrama. It is beyond that. Yes, because, you know, generally it is taken up as Ekta Kapoor serials, or it's all women crying and it's all drama. No, drama is beyond these walls of TV and movies. It is inculcating life skills, and it was a great takeaway on today's stand of you bringing drama into the webinar. Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. It is indeed wonderful to listen to you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Moving on to our next distinguished speaker for the day, Heemal ma'am, your voice was a true echo, and I'm sure after your presentation today, it is going to echo in our ears for days and days to come. So Heemal ma'am, the stage is all yours, and we are all ears to you, waiting to hear from you.
Thank you, Dr. Tyagi. The stage is indeed right now just shared by Dale, is all ours, and we offer the whole stage to the children to be able to put forth their potential and, you know, and all the talent out there, because in everything that they do, there is a lot of learning and they acquire a lot of skills. And that is why NEP 2020 insists on integrating art into teaching, into education, be it English, be it science, be it mathematics and everything. In fact, this is quite interesting. Early in the morning, we had a poetry session by students, and that was in Hindi, wherein one of the girls, she talked about a boy, she calls his Golu and Ganit, and that is Golu and mathematics. So she showed how Ganit, that is mathematics and art, can be integrated from top to bottom of our body. And that's what her whole poetry was all about. She was the first prize winner in today's program. All I'm trying to say here is education, and we all want it that way, is to develop them holistically. As we used to say, well-rounded students, personalities is what we want them. What has happened after the pandemic? They are well-rounded without exercise, coming outdoors. But what has also happened is they didn't really get a chance to showcase what they have in them. And art would really help them to do this. If we could do it, if we could handhold them sometimes. See, there are different types and forms of art which they can use and integrate into their language. What we are trying to say is, don't have art as a separate subject. Integrate it into everything. It could be social sciences, it could be English, it could be mathematics, it could be any other subject, and it can be done. I initially remember, Neelima ma'am, you would understand what I'm saying, when teachers would say, how can we integrate art into mathematics? How can we have art integration in sciences when we're talking about so many things in science? How can you have dance and how can you have music and drama? Now everybody is doing it. And the most important thing is children are enjoying. Let's not forget. So if we want our children to acquire the 21st century skills, by the way, we are almost getting into the 22nd century now, so we should be ready with more skills. But integrating art into our system of education is also a very joyful learning process, which we must accept. It makes children happy, even if they are doing role plays and simulations. It makes them happy when they sing something. I remember a teacher who had a tough time getting all the formulas into the heads of the children. So one fine morning, what she did in the class was, she just made it into a song, and she asked, after singing it, she asked them to repeat the whole thing. Do you think anyone would forget? No way. Similarly, getting inspired from her, the chemistry teacher who had issues with children not being able to write the right equations in chemistry did the same thing, and it worked wonders. Initially, they were all laughing, and the whole process, but then they realized, they remembered the whole thing. So concept clarification, being able, longer retention can happen with this. I know of a student in class 12 who used rap music to remember the poetry. And he made it an example in the class, and everybody took it up as a challenge to write some more to explain a difficult stanza or a part of the poem. So this was fun. From fun, it became serious. So what we can do is, you can use pictures, like in the junior classes, we have children using small little pictures to tell a story. That's also art. You are allowing the child to first paint something, make something, and then talk about it. See, all these skills of, collaboration, you are cooperating with another person to do something. You're not doing it alone, and it builds your confidence when you present your whatever you have made in the presence of the class or in the presence of your teacher. It builds your confidence. All these things, collaborative learning, confidence building, comes along with art. And the best part I always like is they enjoy whatever they are doing. And when they enjoy, the others who are shy learners also would like to do it, and you will see them inspired enough to get into the whole system of participating in the class, which is so important to get them all integrated into the education system. So this can happen, and we don't have to really work very hard. Some of us in our schools have been doing this for ages now. We have been doing it, but it's only picked up momentum, I think, when it was reiterated by the CBSE. So there is an experiential learning happening with the children. The teachers are enjoying in the whole process. The students are enjoying. And I think we are making progress when you make the whole thing a holistic experience for the children as well.
Thank you so much, Heemal ma'am. It was again very enlightening to hear from you that yes, what we are talking about today was well thought prior to when NEP was actually introduced. When we talk about Gandhi, he actually talked about vocational skills. He talked about things to be integrated together. And I take the honor on this platform to let you all know that Gargi bagged 3 national awards, CBSE awards, in this context only. Our very own music fam, Dr. Sharma, HOD, she integrated music with teaching, periodic tables, Newton's laws, everything was integrated. Small children were taught nursery rhymes. In fact, my own principal, Dr. Anupama, she remodified the nursery rhymes, right? So it was marvelous when I saw these people working onto it. Principal ma'am herself, Dr. Anupama, the second CBSE awardee, took innovative to the next level and made things so wonderful for us. We started with our own company, Pehel, and last year again we had the third CBSE award. Our art head, our fine arts HOD, she bagged the academic coordinator award, Miss Pooja Sharma, because she integrated the difficult concepts of history and she incorporated them into a carom board. Then she took up chemistry, very technical reactions that are there, and she made it in a snake and ladder format, a playway method format. And it was wonderful to watch. It was wonderful. So yes, art integration is something that is here to stay. And when with NEP coming up, I think so. It has actually gained a new momentum. Thank you so much, Heemal ma'am. It was wonderful. And now, finally, we are here with our very own smiling and charming Mini Nair ma'am. Ma'am, the topic that you will be taking up today is a very, very important topic. CBSE came up with the circular of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, in which every school or every state was supposed to be collaborating with other states, talking about their culture and coming up with art integrated activities. We would like to hear from you about this, and can it be taken beyond boundaries, beyond avenues, and to an international platform? So, Mini Nair ma'am, we are desperately waiting to hear from you. Thank you. Ma'am, you're not audible. I think so. You need to unmute. Right.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
A very good evening to everybody once again. You know, being the last speaker, I think I have actually very little to say because most of my eminent speakers have spoken about the importance of art integration. So, you know, there is very little that I have to say, but nevertheless, I am going to share my points and I'm too happy to be on this platform and speak. Okay, let me begin with a small quote. Art has the power to transform, illuminate, illustrate, inspire, and to educate. We all know that the National Education Policy 2020 has on page 12, paragraph 4.6, made it very clear the significance or the importance of this art integration. It is mentioned that it is a cross-circular pedagogical tool which utilizes all aspects and forms of art and culture as the basis for learning across various subjects. Now, all of us look forward to something that is making classroom teaching joyful. Yes, we have to do that, but we need to keep in mind one more thing, that is we need to imbibe the Indian ethos through the integration of Indian art and culture, both in teaching and learning at the different levels. Now, we should also remember that this art integration, you know, it strengthens the linkages between education and culture. What is the importance of art integration? It is important because it is an inventive and constructive approach of learning where the students illustrate, demonstrate, and they experiment the concepts through various forms of art. Now, what does the teacher do? The teacher engages her class in a very lively and meaningful way by keeping art at the center and with the curriculum around it and integrating the academic content and the curriculum with various forms of art. Now, various forms of art, already my eminent speakers have said it is like drawing, it is like music, it is fine arts, it's visual arts, it's dramatization, solo act, So these are the, forms which the teacher can use in the classroom. And this will go in a long way to ensure that the learning in the classroom for the child is a total 360-degree holistic learning. Now, Dr. Tyagi, you had spoken about Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. Yes, this was announced by our Honorable Prime Minister on 31st October 2015 at the 140 birth celebrations of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Now, we all know India is a vast country, diverse in culture, multilingual, multicultural, multi-traditional, but yet the country is bound together by the ancient bonds. Now it is our duty to ensure through our children, to ensure that the bonds are strengthened and children are able to understand the importance of it. That is why the CBSE has brought out a circular on 2020, 14th May, whereby in Annexure 1, where the new policy that has started about pairing a particular state or union territory with another state or territory. Why is this done? This is done so that children get to know about other states, and there is a bonding, and this bonding and this interchange of ideas, mutual understanding will not only ensure that the country's values are secure, but what is more important is it has to strengthen our unity and integrity. The country's unity and integrity has to be strengthened. So we have to use this way of making children aware of what is happening in the different states of the country to begin with. Like, for example, the list, the Annexure 1 of the circular tells us about starting from Jammu and Kashmir right up to the last Lakshadweep paired with which state. Very interesting way this work has been done. For example, the state where West Bengal, for us, we were paired with Ladakh. And it was wonderful, to see the children investigating, finding out, and to give out an example of one lesson of class 10 English. The lesson 3, the lesson was the tiger in the zoo. And we chose this topic. The topic was chosen by the teacher. And what was the theme or the topic for contrasting and comparing with Ladakh? Since West Bengal was paired with Ladakh, it was the wildlife in West Bengal with the wildlife of Ladakh. And the children couldn't have been more happy, And they did a lot of research, they did investigations, and they came to the conclusion of, drawing down the habits and the habitats of the organisms. They concluded that way, and also its effect on the adaptations. So it was a wonderful time the children had. And for the senior classes, we took up the cultural history of West Bengal with that of Ladakh. So here you have the culture, you have the religion, you have the food, you have the fine arts, you have so many things taken in. And it was, learning was so interesting for the children, learning by doing. And these activities are done in groups, group activities. And what is the biggest plus point over here I found is that in a group, we do not have children with the same temperament. You have a slow learner, you have a child who's very quick with his answers. Now, the slow learner will definitely garner up more speed, hasten his steps at trying to match with others. And the child who's a little quick at it, he has to wait for the others. And since they were all working together, peer learning was at its best, and there was a stability in the temperament as well. This is something which I had noticed for myself. Now, so this actually exchange of, pairing of states, it leads to a good, bonding, reciprocal interaction between various people, better understanding, and this is extremely important. Now, what is the advantages of this, art integration? Art integration is very, very important. The reason being, the child is able to, initiate, the child is able to reflect, the child is able to think critically, creativity, as it has been already said by some of our eminent speakers, creativity comes out, and there is a lot of collaboration. They are working together. Children are working together. Collaboration is there. Confidence is there. Learning is deeper, and I find retention is also for a longer time. When they are doing hands-on, learning by doing, learning gets deeper and the retention is longer. And there is a feeling of, self-confidence coming up, and self-awareness and self-ownership. Like, all are contributing. All the children are contributing over here. So it's, it has only advantages, I would tell you. And in short, the children, the students are imbibing in them almost all the 21st century skills. So I would like to finish off saying that, art integration, it is the most urgent need of the hour, and it has to stay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mini ma'am. It was all full of energy and vibrance, and I must actually tell this on the stage that no matter you were the last speaker, but I just felt it like a relay race, and all my 4 speakers did such a fantastic job that we are number 1. And even the last person who has to speak needs to be all full of energy, and you never slowed down even for a second. Your energy was totally unmatched. And kudos to you for brimming up with so much joy and energy and bringing the session alive even at this hour. And I must say, when we talk about full 1 hour, we can imagine how long it is, how boring it can get. But each and every speaker, a big thanks to each and every speaker from my behalf. And I'm pretty sure even the rest of the audiences who are here with us, YouTube is all flooded with viewers, Facebook is flooded with, and I must tell Edubag, I must tell Abhinav that these sessions, 1 hour just went off in a blink of an eye. We were just gearing it up, and the time has come for the closure. And as said by ma'am, yes, art integration brings creativity. And when art integration brings creativity, creativity will definitely be the currency to 21st century. On this note, we are there winding up the session today, and I hand over the stage finally to Abhinav.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for moderating the session. I'm really thankful to Neelima ma'am, Heemal ma'am, Mini ma'am, and Dale Edwards, who accepted my humble request to be the part of this session. It really means a lot for a company like us, ma'am. Right? I have worked with all of you. So I know the kind of work which you have done in school education. That is really remarkable, and that's really amazing, right? I'm just a small. It's a very small initiative from our side to help the school education in the country. And with this session, we would also like to inform the people who are on this session that the association of Myedubag with Trinity College London is going to help all the user schools which are connected with Myedubag, be it teachers training, be it assessments, be it loading or helping the teachers with the latest global standards. This is all Myedubag is going to help all these user schools which are associated with us. So with this, I again thanks all the speakers and most importantly all the participants. We also knew that our capacity was just 100, and after that I realized that we could increase it to 300, but maybe like that was a technical glitch which even I was not knowing. We got 500 registrations. I'm really sorry to those people whom we could not accept in the session, but we made it a point that everybody should be able to see the session. So the session was getting live streamed on YouTube and Facebook, where we are getting good number of views, right? At the same time, I'm thankful to all the people who have supported to have this smooth running of the session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Abhinav.
Thank you so much, Abhinav, and indeed congratulations to you too. It was indeed well collaborated. Thank you.
One second, on behalf of Trinity College London, I must thank you, Abhinav, for taking it forward, and our support and assistance to everybody who is present here. It's there for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. It's always a pleasure to meet you all here. And thank you, Neelima ma'am. It's always nice to see you online, so I always get to see you more. I hope to see you more.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.